What's up, everybody? Full Throttle Hobbies Raceway coming at you live, presenting to you the very new Caster Racing ETO821 E-buggy .2. It's the second version from the first version. Okay, we'll go over a lot of the things that were changed from the .1 to the .2. The .1 was really good. There was really nothing wrong with it. I think it was more of a setup thing. A lot of people got lost with setup, being that it was a narrower car, and the diff placement to the drive shaft, the center drive line, was off to the side. So it is a different driving style that you would have to set up to. So the car was still planted. However, if you didn't come out of corners smooth and you had your ESC set up with too much punch and things like that, the car would want to either diff out or just kick out or do, some awkward things. But for the most part, that car was really good if you set it up to be smooth and drove patient. This vehicle, it's new to me, so this is my kit here that we're going to be testing with, and I just want to go over some of the key points that I see that is a huge difference from the .1. Okay, if you look in the forum, if you're new and you look in the forums, you'll see that Chris he posted a lot of what was changing. So he keeps you up to speed on what's happening with the car. And if you have to go back to the older model to see and read and get enough information to carry over to make your .2 that much more faster or enjoyable. So let's go over a couple things here. The layout, okay? The layout still gets a 5-star. However, this time around, I'm gonna bump it another 5 stars. Look at this. The drive line's almost in the center. The way they have the battery tray and ESC, the spacing, you see it? It's definitely done where the weight distribution is almost exactly where it needs to be. So when I talk about the weight distribution, right? The weight of this ESC, fan, wire, okay, the motor, center diff, where it's located with the pinion, and then running the stick pack, right? This is a long brick pack. So basically, if we want to be simple terms, the reason why I'm giving it 10-star is because now that they kick this back towards the center here, and they have the weight of the center diff and motor on this side, a little bit more outside, when you run a brick pack and the ESC, it almost balances it out to a point where you can't really get it to be more balanced than that. I think someone went out there and balanced out the car, and the weight distribution, all 4 corners, were almost exact. So that's pretty rad. What that does for you when you're driving it, it's very nimble, very direct. It feels very smooth in and out of the corners. It's not going to dump to one side when you come off jumps, and we'll get into that later. That's a big thing with this car when you guys are going to be running this car for this season, is we're going to try and get a little bit more flex out of the car into the car than it has now, okay? And I'll tell you why in a moment. I just want to go over a couple more things. So that's 10-star with the layout, and then the servo being up front here. And this receiver box, they didn't change it, and I love it. It has a lot of room, and it keeps the dirt and debris out of there for you. Has a lot of room in there for you guys running the bigger receivers. I do run the FlySky Noble V2 receivers, and it fits so nice in there. I'm able to put my transponder in there as well, and it's really neat. Like, there's no extra wire going anywhere, so I really like that. I am running the Nitro Pro HV servo. Thank you, Nitro Pro. that servo right there is definitely by far one of my favorite servos. And also I do like that the company itself has got the little writing there. They back their product, so they keep in a contact with everyone by letting them know what's going on, posting pictures and threads and stuff like that. So if you guys are looking to run this car and you're looking for which servo to put in there, I do highly suggest the Nitro Pro servo. I've been running these for quite some time now, and wow, I don't need to switch. I do apologize for the camera shake. I have it on a kind of an arm thing. Anyway, so back to the car. That was the center and the placement. Another big thing was the steering rack. Now you're getting all of your steering, right? All of your steering, right? And by doing it the way they did, they added an extra brace there that keeps your steering more direct. So I will talk about the first drive of the car. I drove someone else's, a driver of ours that we built the kit together, and I went out there and I stupefied, seriously. And we'll get into that and why, but this steering rack, another 10 stars. The bulkheads, they're beefy, they go together well. The diff tolerance for gearing inside the diff is definitely improved. I mean, there's no wobble or shake back and forth, up and down on the diff. So you're getting a real direct drive to the gear, and it is protecting the gear there, right? As you can see, all the spring steel it comes with, the 0.2, that was definitely a game changer, having this type of material on this car as a race car. I would definitely, if they did not include this like they do on the RTR where this is not included, I would definitely upgrade to these. It makes the car a lot lighter, and you could feel it. So I was running the RTR for quite some time for the track and for the clinics with the kids, and I even have video of one of the kids just being, you know, honest and what he thought about both cars and which car he liked. And he liked the RTR because it felt heavier to him, and he knew where the car was going to go. With this car, he said it felt very, very agile and light, and he's not used to that yet. So he would have to learn the car and come and practice, which that's what we're doing. I'm working with him. He has talent, and I'm going to keep working with him with this car. So moving forward, the towers. Okay, you got taller towers now. Nice material there, 70-75. Man, I can't get enough of this car. Unbelievable. Look at that. Spring steel cups, the way the carriers are captured, right? And I'm running stock. I'm not running the aluminum stuff as of right now. I'm gonna test just stock to see what the difference is. I'll run it quite some time just so I can get the car set up with the composite carrier and knuckle, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add the aluminum knuckle only, and then I'll switch and I'll do the composite knuckle to the aluminum carrier and see what I like. And I'll keep you guys posted with that. The shocks, unreal. The shocks is a longer barrel because you got a taller tower now. It doesn't feel like it wants to like bottom out and kind of bounce back like the 0.1 did. You had to do some stuff to get rid of that. Now they fixed it. So that's that. And then the toe blocks, A, B, C, and D, nice and beefy. And you could adjust your toe. And if I'm seeing correctly, I think that one of my pills is wrong. Now that we're looking at this, no, it's not. Woo! That was just the camera there. Yeah, they're right. So I believe that's a 3-degree that I'm running right there. And right now this setup is by eye. I didn't go completely to the book, so I'll go over a couple things that I did for the build. So in the diffs, we're running 7, 10, and in the rear, we're running 5, 7, 10, 5. Okay, and then in the shocks, I'm running 600, 600 front and 550 rear with stock pistons. I haven't drilled them yet. I haven't changed anything yet. This is just by feel. And like I said, with our team driver Saul's car, I did the same shock package just from what I thought would be for the car with running the RTR, and I carried it over and I loved it. It was amazing, even with the stock springs. So I am going to start off with the stock setup, the stock springs, stock pistons, and again, 600 front, 550 rear. Okay, I am running a 14 tooth pinion on the Rocket RC Taurus. It is a 1950 kV motor. Okay, Surpass Hobby, and I'm running their Rocket speed control, right? And it's Bluetooth, so I'll be able to adjust my parameters and boost timing and everything right from my phone, so I don't have to open up the case and plug in the wire and things like that. So far, so good. When I took this out just to test it in the front of the house, just to make sure everything was working correctly and I didn't have any hiccups with the build, as soon as I took off and took one turn, I could not believe what I was feeling. Amazing, guys. So even if you get this car and you're not going to a track and you want to run this out on the street, or even, you know, make this thing a speed demon, guys, this thing right here, for the price, I can't believe it. It's amazing. Look, I didn't even, I was going to tell you, that's going to be next phase here when I tell you some of the things that I did that's not in the manual that I'm going to do. Yeah, it's amazing. I love the feel of the car. You're so connected. It just feels like you're driving with an air gun. That's like the best way I could put it. It's like when you pull throttle and you put your input, the car is doing exactly what you want. It's not like other cars that I've driven that you have to make the car turn or swing the rear around. No, this is more of a direct drive race car. So whatever input to setup that you're putting into this car, you're gonna feel it. When I talk about input, I'm talking about kick up in the A and the B block. That's gonna be a major thing that I'm gonna be messing with the caster blocks here. I do like the 15 degree. I've tried the 10, and with the 10, you have to get the car to follow the front, and it's really hard to do with having the layout be so balanced that before with the 0.1, you could do that. You could adjust your carrier to a 10 degree and make the rear follow the front. I'll do some videos on what I'm talking about with the rear following the front at the track, but for now, just follow along and try and remember the language that I'm talking, and we'll learn together. So back to the A and B block, that's for the kick up, so you could adjust for caster. I'm gonna mess with that. I'm gonna mess with the sway bar. They come with a 2.5 front and a 2.7 rear. And for sure, this is where I'm going to touch on flex, right? When you're going off a jump, and when I was going off a jump with Saul's car, I did notice that the rear of the car was not flexing to the scoop of the jump. So if I came into the jump, turned, and I wanted it just to kind of flow and follow off the top of the jump, being that I have such a stiff sway bar in the rear, it's not letting the car roll enough, so it'll kick the car back straight, right, in the rear, which is not a bad thing. It's just I can't air correct. I can't cross up as quickly as I wanted to, which again, it's not a bad thing. It's a driving style preference. I like to throw my car kind of sideways in the air, so when I land and I hit throttle, I can get out of the corner a little bit quicker. However, there's drivers out there that you watch that they almost never air correct or throw their car sideways, and they're the fastest guys on the planet. So again, it's a driving preference, right? I really like to set my car up to flex to the track, to the terrain. And there's other guys that like to drive kind of direct, no mistakes, and that's just their style. So being that this car was built the way it was, you're gonna get both, right? So we'll have to go over some setups to where it keeps the car planted everywhere and you could just drive without, air corrections, things like that, or you can set the car up to be very agile and run it to the track. And again, with the videos that I'm going to be making, I'm going to explain what I mean by setting up the car for the track and driving the track, right? A lot of that is missed when you buy the car, you build it, you're excited, you want to go out there and you just want to pull trigger and you keep doing it. Keep doing it. It's fun. I get it. But I just want to share with you guys what I do, so maybe it's a little bit more enjoyable for you to try these little things that we're going to be doing. Okay, so real quick, it's been a 16-minute video. I don't know if I'm editing this or I'm just going to leave it up. This is the first time I'm doing a video with Caster through Full Throttle Hobbies Raceway, and this is the first time I had time. Running a track is not easy, so I don't have a lot of time. So a lot of the things that I do, I have another team driver, my right-hand man, my mechanic, Doug Graham. I'll let him know what I need done to the car. And while I'm working on the track during the week, he'll do the changes. He'll bring the car out, we'll run it. I'll give him feedback, and then I'll hand him the car, and he'll make changes. Even if I haven't said anything, he could notice it. So that's something really, really cool that I have going with this team, is that I'm actually, able to have someone that knows what they're doing with setup and things like that. So a lot of the setup ideas are mine. However, again, we're doing this together. I don't know it all. I'm just going by feel, and also with, the brains of someone else, their input, so we can make the car that much better. It's fun that way. And I'd like to do the same thing with you guys. We'll do some Discords or Zoom meetings and things like that. And we, shoot some ideas around, and I'll ask you questions to get some of these answers out that you guys probably are always wondering. How come my car does this? Or why doesn't it do this? Why does yours do that? Why does yours look like it does this? Well, it's not just at the car. It's going to be at your remote and how you drive, right? And I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that as much as I can, all right? Okay, some points to do while you're building the kit. The kit comes with washers and lock nuts in the front. That's cool and all. They work, don't get it wrong. But when you're at a race or you're wrenching, you got to take this off, take the washer off. You drop it in the dirt, or you lose it, or you're trying to get it back on and you've got no time to get up there before they start. I don't like that. So I'm taking these off right off the bat. I'm gonna run longer screws. Got these from Amazon. And I'm gonna run a longer screw so I can run a flanged lock nut that looks like M3 flange lock nut. So you can see it. So I don't need the washer, but you need a longer screw. All right, for the guys that are not used to driving on a track and they're just coming out with this for the first time and you want to make it a lot stronger, what you can do is these two screws here that go through the bulkhead, right, to here, you can run a longer screw right here and put a lock nut there, okay? That'll definitely strengthen up this shock tower if you're hitting stuff or rolling over. I have not yet to see anybody bend even the 0.1 shock tower, so you don't need it, But if you want that extra measure, it was cool that they left it like that, because back in the day, I did put lock nuts there because, yeah, I was definitely not a patient driver, and I did not want to not finish a race. So that's what I did. So I'm sharing that with you guys. Another one you can do, some guys don't know how to torque the screws to the ball ends at the tower, which is right here. See that silver? You can run a longer screw all the way through and put a lock nut there as well if you feel that you don't want that to come out, or you didn't put Loctite, or just an extra measure. You could always run a longer screw and a lock nut there. That's a cool feature for racing too, is again, the longer you stay on the track and finish the race, the better you do. And that same application applies to the rear. What else? Get yourself some really good double-sided tape for your ESC. Okay, make sure you get that nice and good. And when you're running your wire underneath the battery tray, guys, make sure that the wire is not standing up, that it's laying flat along the flat part of the battery tray, because if it gets pinched between the chassis and under the battery, that's when you have lipo fires, and it's not fun. Okay. Let's see what else I can think of. For now, guys, that's my first overview. Oh, and the really, really, really cool chassis. I love that. I love that. And then the extra holes here, you can change the battery configuration. You can run the ESC. I believe you can run it, I think you can run it up front. Well, I'm not going to touch on that yet because I just got to this. Again, the car is new to me, so we're going to definitely learn from Chris and what he's doing out there. And guys, if you have any information like that, please share it and share with us what you're doing and why, you know what I mean? And what it feels like, if it was a good change or it wasn't a good change. It's good to have that with everybody on the same page, because then we're not wasting our time going a different direction and someone saying, yeah, look what I did, and it feels good, but it really doesn't feel good. Don't do that. Let's try and be honest here with what you're doing, and that's what I just did for you guys. The Caster Racing ETO821.2 E-buggy at Full Throttle Raceway, Newman, California.